Hey guys, thank you for tuning into this week's video. My name's Ruth, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. I hope you enjoy this video, and if you want to subscribe, like, share, do all that stuff, you can do it all below. And this week we're going to talk about something that I've been talking about with someone recently. We were discussing the topic of jealousy, envy, and kind of like how we move through that and deal with that in everyday life, because let's face it, it affects us all. Whether we're in relationships or we're in the work environment or we're just trying to move through the day, jealousy and envy will hit us all at some point. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the kind of difference between jealousy and envy, some steps that you can take to kind of reflect and look at what is triggering you, what's making you jealous, what's making you envious of people, and then what you can do with that, and potentially how you can kind of turn the charge, the volume down on that jealousy and that envy. I'm not talking about making it go away, and there is no magic wand to do that, but just how we can deal with it in a better way and how we can potentially turn it into something that we see as a negative and kind of flip that into something that can actually push us forward, make us realize our full potential and what we really want out of life, because often there are kind of magic little nuggets in envy and jealousy that can really help us to move forward. So first of all, let's talk about jealousy and envy. So a lot of people will say that they are jealous of someone, and jealousy is very, very common. It affects us, I'm pretty sure it affects us all to different levels depending on your relationship history, your childhood, your family history. Jealousy is going to affect you in different ways. So the core difference between jealousy and envy is if we're jealous of someone, then it tends to be that we have this feeling that they are trying to take something that's ours, or they're trying to get in on the action of something that we hold dear and we've laid claim to. So the most common one would be, we've all seen the memes and stuff, so like, you know, like there's a girl and you're out and she's like checking out your man, and you might get jealous because you think she's trying to move in on him, or vice versa, and all of these jealous feelings come up and you're like, you know, stay away, this is my man and you are not taking something that's mine. And there might be jealousy, like you may think she's like attractive or he's attractive, and you're kind of insecurities are bubbling up and you're thinking maybe they're better than me and they're trying to get something that's yours. And then you can also apply it to a work setting where somebody new might come into your workplace and you feel like maybe they've got different gifts to you, different talents, maybe they're like moving in a bit on your territory, so feelings of jealousy might come up around that. And then the difference between jealousy and envy is that envy is really like, it's not that you feel like that person is trying to take something that's yours, it's just that feeling that is part of jealousy. But envy is where you see something in someone else, you see a characteristic, you see whether that's a physical kind of attribute, or whether it's more something in their personality that you feel like, I want that, they've got something I want. And it could be a material thing, like I want that car, I want that house. A physical thing, I want that body, I want those eyes, I want that hair, I want that physique. Or it could be something mental, like I want to have her kind of maths brain so I can do better at work, or I want to have his charisma and his public speaking talent, like I want to have that, or I want to be able to sing like him. So envy is more about wanting something that someone else has got. Jealousy is more recognizing something in somebody else and then feeling like that's moving in on your territory and trying to take something that you've laid claim to and you think is yours. So that's the main difference between the two. When these feelings come up in us, which, as I was saying, I was talking about this with someone, someone rose the question to me, like, how do you kind of move through relationships and life without getting jealous of people or without getting envious of people? And I was the first to say, I definitely envy people, and I definitely have jealousy in me. So it's been something that I have really noticed a difference in, and I've done certain things to, like I say, turn the volume down on that and really recognize what in me is causing the issue. So I used to be a very envious, jealous person, and like I would particularly see this play out. This is just in my experience, your experience is going to be different. So I would particularly see this play out around very confident, successful, or very like I'm trying to think of the word, like very sexually and physically assured women, like women who had confidence, had it all going on, and they were like just out there. That would trigger me. I would be so envious, and I would be jealous, thinking they were like gonna step on my territory, or I was threatened by that in them. And the same with the successful, very driven, like career type women. I would feel like I would envy that, and then I would turn that envy into a kind of like bitterness and would find flaws in these people, and I would be envious of their success, and then a little bit jealous in the sense that I felt like their success was gonna kind of put me even more in the shadows. Like anything that I'd achieved was not good enough compared to these women, and they were gonna kind of take something away from the little bit of success that I felt I had because they were so successful. So that was how it played out for me. Now I'm going to take you through some questions that I always ask myself when I get jealous, when I get envious, when these feelings come up for me. These are the things that I run through. So first up, number one, I ask myself, what am I envious and jealous about? So what's going on? Like the feelings are coming up, I am having like real sort of resistance in my body, and I'm getting very like fiery and envious or jealous about someone, which, you know, is a really horrible feeling. Nobody likes that feeling, especially if it's jealousy and you feel really threatened. So when those feelings come up, I ask myself, what am I feeling envious or jealous about? So I'll run through that in my head, or if I'm like out of the situation and I've got a pen and paper, I'll write it down. So like, I am envious or jealous because this person has a better career than me. I am envious or jealous because I feel like this woman is more attractive than me and she is going to get more attention than me, or she is going to try and move in on my territory. So they're just a few things, that examples that you could write down. So identifying what it is, and then asking yourself, after you've done the what, number two is, why am I envious or jealous about this person or this situation? So what's going on, why? And this is where you have to kind of look in on yourself and be willing to go inside and ask yourself some difficult questions and really like look back in your history. So if you've got a history of potentially, I don't know, being told that you're not good at things, or being criticised in the workplace, or not getting a promotion, or being kind of like sidelined by a boss or a colleague, they may be triggers for you that make you envious or jealous of a colleague. So it's kind of looking at, where's this coming from? You may have never felt like you were good enough in school. You may have had very critical parents. So all these things can make you feel like people are threats and can bring up feelings of envy or jealousy. So like just looking at why am I envious or jealous in this situation is really, really good and helpful to kind of move you forward and get you not looking just at the other person, but looking at yourself. And that's the only thing that you're in control of, is like, you can't change that other person, or you have no sway in their life, you know. So the only thing that you can use this this energy and this emotion and this feeling for is to learn more about yourself and then potentially change the outcome in the future, or change this situation repeating and repeating. Because what I found in the past is I would get very envious or jealous, and I would never ask myself these questions. It would just be there, and I'd be like, I don't like that person, I don't like that girl, I don't like that woman, or I don't like him, and that was it, you know. And it would persist, and it would just move on from person to person. So it would move on to the next woman, or it would move on to the next work colleague, and what we resist persists. So I would resist the feeling, and then it would just persist, because I was never just like, okay, I'm feeling envious, I'm feeling jealous, let's sit with this, what's this about? Ruth, you're doing this again, you know, you've just moved on to the next person, what's this pattern about? So really taking ownership and asking yourself those questions. Why is it there? It could be that another common example would be, we're like envious of someone's physical body. You know, that's a key one in kind of like moving through relationships and how we feel about ourselves, particularly in the age of the internet. I love this quote by Seth Godin. He says, the internet is an envy amplifier. So if you feel insecure about your body shape, and you're like walking down the street and you're like already feeling a little bit envious of people that you wish you had their body, then you add into the mix kind of like Instagram and Facebook and advertising and all of that stuff that goes on online. It just cranks up the volume and can make it very difficult to really get to grips with it, because it becomes so loud. So one of the things that I would say is really asking that why. So it may be that you're very envious of other people's physiques because, you know, like something's gone on in your life and you've kind of like lost a grip on your weight, or you've like gone through something really difficult and it's affected the relationship that you have with your body. You may feel very out of control about something. You might have had an illness, or you might have gone through a really stressful situation and put on some weight, and then you're seeing these people and the envy is really rising up in you. So it's really important to not just look at someone else and think, I wish I had that. Delve deeper and ask yourself what's going on underneath, and really like sitting with that feeling of, if there is a reason why, then being kind to yourself and just saying, it's okay that I'm feeling like this. It's really good that I'm recognizing where this is coming from. It might not be a magic wand to make it go away and, you know, make you lose a couple of stone, but you're already becoming kinder to yourself and asking yourself these difficult questions. So that's the second step. And then the third step, which is really, really important, is moving this into an action phase. Like, what am I going to do about this feeling? You know, you might not want to do anything. You might just want to sit with step 1 and step 2 for a little while. But it's the idea that it's not necessarily a negative. So if you're looking around at people and you're thinking, you know, I'm really got out of shape, I'm looking around, I'm so envious of other people's bodies, I'm feeling really down, I've been through all of this difficult stuff and I'm in this situation, what am I going to do about it? And at this point, it's really important to be realistic and set small goals. So it's no good, like, for example, like, you know, I can like go online and look at pictures of Giselle Bundchen or some other like Victoria's Secret supermodel, but you know, the fact that like what it takes to look like that, is that something that I'm willing to do in my life? Like, do I want that much that I am willing to be like, I'm gonna get myself down to the gym every day, I am gonna eat a really restricted diet, and then also on top of that, I have to accept that like I am 5'8". I'm never going to be 5'11". I'm never going to be really, really skinny, because that's not feasible for me. It's not feasible like physiologically, because that's not my makeup, and it's not feasible for me because I'm not going to go to the gym every day, and I'm not going to surpass a pizza or chocolate cake that make me really happy sometimes. And that's just not going to happen for me. And I have other priorities. I want to make these videos for you guys and for me. And I've got like a full-time job. So me being envious of a Victoria's Secret model, like the reality is that that's not actually a priority for me. So you have to really think about the work that it's going to take you to get there. Like, you could be envious of someone that's set up an app, or an entrepreneur that's launched a really successful business. And you could be like, I want to do that. I want that in my life. But the question is, what have they done to get there behind the scenes? And how much work has to go into that? And is that what you really want? Is that envy kind of surface level? Or is it really deep in you that I'm really envious of that person because that's something I really want to do? I really want that in my life. And I think you have to really get real, to sound cliche, about what you're willing to actually do and what is a priority for you. And then sometimes you'll recognize that what you're envious of is actually quite flighty in surface. It's not really that much of a priority for you. And then doing the 3 steps makes you then think, well, what are my priorities? So my priorities might be like, I'm not going to get the perfect bum. Instead of getting the perfect bum, I'm gonna maybe like make some healthy meals so I can maybe feel a little bit better about myself. And I'm going to spend that time maybe that I would have spent in the gym, working on this new business plan, or seeing my friends more, or whatever else you find is a priority for you. So they're all key steps that you can do. 3 key steps. So number 1, what am I feeling jealous or envious about? Number 2, why am I feeling envious or jealous about this? And number 3, what are you going to do about it? So what action are you going to take? Are you going to take any action? Are you going to reassess your priorities? And just to understand that, like, we all go through this. I don't think there's anyone that's immune to feeling envious or jealous at points. But the key breakthrough for me, like I've told you those 3 steps, which are all super helpful. The key for me, which was completely unplanned, which totally I didn't quite do a 180, but I really did change my whole thing about feeling envious of other women. That was like a fog that clouded my interactions with other people. And I always use this example that there was like a friend of mine, and she was like an absolute knockout. Like, she was like so beautiful. She had the perfect body and she knew it, and she would show it off. And that would really trigger me. Like, I'd be like, oh, I don't like her, she's getting more attention than me. That's the Leo in me. And I just don't like her because of the way she looks and the way that she's put it out there, which was so kind of like blocking. It blocked a potential friendship. It blocked me getting to know that person. It was so judgmental. And I started to meditate. So I learned to meditate. And then literally within a few months after I started to meditate, I felt so much more comfortable with myself and in tune with myself and mindful, that this kind of like fog that would block me from being able to kind of love and accept and appreciate other beautiful women suddenly kind of like disappeared. It was amazing. So I would no longer feel it was like a 70% reduction in that feeling. So I would feel much more assured in myself. And then when I would be around, say, that particular woman, I would just feel so loving towards her. We had some great conversations. I saw that she was a really beautiful person, and we were able to really connect because I no longer just saw her as someone that was a threat to me and that I was jealous of. So it lifted that fog that was clouding my interactions with her and other women, and made me feel part of a sisterhood. Like, women don't have to compete with each other. And when a man appreciates another woman's beauty, then that's just like them looking at a beautiful sunset, or like me looking at a beautiful rose, and me looking at guys that way. It's okay. And like, I shouldn't feel jealous or I shouldn't feel angry about that. because it's part of life, and it was actually really affecting me and my ability to connect with other women. So meditation also helped me. So doing those 3 steps, meditation, and really just recognizing that we're all going to get jealous and we're all going to get envious, but it can be a catalyst for you to learn more about yourself and for you to have better relationships with other people, and just to kind of stop this fog. This is how I see it. Like there's like this we're walking around and there's this jealousy, envy fog that stops us from really seeing other people and being able to connect with them. And once we can kind of start to use envy and jealousy as a real motivational tool in our lives, and a kind of a flipping the lens on ourselves so we can learn more about ourselves, we actually come to see it as a gift. It can be a bit of a gritty gift, not always that pleasant to experience, but really important. So yeah, I hope that's helped around envy, jealousy. Let me know your experiences, like what triggers you, what makes you envious of people, what makes you jealous of people. I've shared a few of mine here, put them out there, and I'd love to know yours as well. So thank you again for watching this video, and I just want to say as well, I've now had 10,000 views on all of my collaborations and content and my YouTube content, which is phenomenal. I'm so happy about that. So thank you so much all for tuning in and making that number go up a little more. I'm not motivated by numbers, but it's just nice to celebrate and appreciate and share the love. So thanks guys, and I will see you next week for another video. All right.